Hey horror fans, welcome back to another video on the Terror Talk channel where I give commentary on creepy stories and conspiracy theories. The music you hear I composed myself. If you're struggling financially like a lot of people are, check the pinned comment after watching. I have something that will help you out a lot. Now let's get into it and have some fun.
I had spent a few days in Austin visiting friends. I live in Louisiana, so it's sort of an all-day drive. On my last day in Austin, my old friend Tom had commented on my Instagram story asking when I leave, and I said today. He told me he lived an hour outside of Austin, which was actually in the direction home for me. I hadn't seen Tom in years, and it would be nice to catch up. He said I should stop by, and I said sure, why not? I set my GPS for Tom's address, and it said about an hour and a half drive. Tom and I had been friends back in high school, but lost touch after graduation. We followed each other on social media, but hadn't really spoken in years. When I pulled up, I noticed his house was a little old-fashioned. It wasn't run down or anything, just aged. The wooden porch creaked under my steps.
Do you have any friends that you haven't talked to in a little while? I know we all probably have friends like that. But the question is it really awkward when you talk to them again, or is it like no time has passed at all? I feel like the friends that you have where it feels like no time has passed at all are the really cool friends to have. And let me know if you've ever had a creepy experience with this kind of thing, with seeing an old friend. And I apologize if my voice seems a little off. And for not posting in a few days, I recently had a pretty bad cold and partially lost my voice, but I am just getting back into making these videos again because they're a lot of fun to make, and I hope you enjoy them.
And when he opened the door, I caught the scent of old wood and something rustic, like an old cabin in the woods. Tom was, of course, very welcoming, giving me a big hug and pulling me inside. Some friendships stay just as pure no matter how much time passes. The inside of the house was just as old as the outside. The furniture looked like it had been around since the 70s, and every step I took on the hardwood floors let out a small creak. It felt kind of Texas, I guess. It was kind of charming in a way, like stepping back in time. We sat down in his living room, catching up on life, drinking whiskey. It was like 5 p.m. by this point. One drink turned into two into three, and before I knew it, I was pretty drunk. The warmth of the alcohol made the room feel smaller, cozier, but also heavier. Hours passed like minutes, honestly. We were having such a good time catching up that eventually he dropped the question I knew he'd ask. Hey man, you got a long drive back. Why don't you crash here for the night? He offered. I hesitated, but he was right. I wasn't in any shape to be on the road. I said, yeah, good idea, and asked if I'd take the couch we were on. And then he said, nah, I got a spare room. It's nothing fancy, but it's better than the couch. That was good enough for me. We ate some Chinese food that we had delivered, and after a while, he led me down a short hallway to the spare bedroom. I didn't pay much attention to the inside of the room because I was hammered. We both were. But I remember the air in the room was still, like the room hadn't been used in a long time. I barely had time to register my surroundings before I collapsed onto the bed, completely exhausted and drunk.
I feel like it's a little weird that that room hadn't been used in a long time. I mean, I guess that might make sense if he's living there alone. But I don't know, is this whole situation kind of giving you an off feeling about it? It is for me. Like, I don't really know what's gonna happen, but I'm sure it's gonna be creepy.
Sometime in the middle of the night, I woke up. My mouth was dry, my head was spinning, and the room was dark, except for a little bit of moonlight sneaking in through the blinds. That's when I saw it. In the far corner of the room, on the closet door, there was something hanging. At first, it looked like a long black trench coat on a coat rack, but as my eyes adjusted, the shape of it felt wrong. It had a broad upper portion, almost like shoulders, and the way it hung made it look less like fabric, more like a silhouette. My heart pounded in my chest. I didn't remember seeing that when I stumbled into the bed, but I had been drunk. maybe I just hadn't noticed. I rolled over, trying to ignore it. It was just a coat, nothing more, but I couldn't help myself. I peeked again, still there. I squeezed my eyes shut, took a deep breath, forced myself to sleep. I don't know how long I was out there before I woke up again. It wasn't just discomfort that pulled me from sleep. It was sound. A slow, soft creaking, like someone stepping carefully on an old wooden floor. My eyes shot open. The room was dimly lit now, dawn creeping through the blinds. I turned my head toward the corner, and my stomach dropped. The coat was gone. I sat up so fast that my head spun. My body was buzzing with a sickening mix of fear and leftover alcohol. I scanned the room, my heart thudding against my ribs. There was nothing in the corner, just an empty closet door. I threw the covers off and rushed to Tom's room. He was snoring, completely unaware of the panic storming through me. I shook him awake, which took a lot of effort considering he was out from all that alcohol. He finally woke up very confused, rubbing his eyes. "The coat," I said breathlessly. "The one on the coat rack in the spare room." He squinted at me, confused. "What coat?" he said. "The black trench coat, the one that was hanging on the closet door. It looked like a person almost." Tom sat up, looking more awake now. "I don't own a trench coat, man. I don't even have a coat rack in that room," he said. I stared at him, waiting for him to say he was messing with me.
That would be so creepy, wouldn't it? Like, oh man, just to realize that someone was in there in the room with you. And I don't know, am I understanding it correctly? Or are we being led to believe that the figure that he saw in the corner was an actual man standing there like the whole night? Or was it actually a trench coat that was hanging? Because my thought is that either someone had come in to get the trench coat or there was an actual person standing there in the corner, and I guess I don't know quite which one it is, or maybe I'm just not understanding it completely or entirely. But either way, this is like super creepy.
That this was some kind of joke, but his expression stayed serious. "Come look," I said. He sighed, but got up and followed me back to the spare bedroom. I pointed to the exact spot. "It was right there," I said. Tom scratched his head. He asked me if I was sure I wasn't just dreaming, but I said I know what I saw. I insisted, with my voice shaking slightly. "I woke up and it was there. Then I woke up again and it was gone," I said. We stood in the room for a few moments, both of us feeling the same eerie silence pressing in on us. Tom finally exhaled and shook his head, agreeing we should check the house just in case. We searched every room, every closet, every corner. Nothing. No signs of forced entry, no weird coats hanging anywhere, nothing that could explain what I saw. Eventually, Tom tried to convince me that maybe I had been in some kind of half-dream state, seeing things that weren't there. I wanted to believe that, really. I didn't want to think about the alternative. As soon as the sun was fully up, I grabbed my stuff, said goodbye, and hit the road. I almost felt guilty leaving him alone after that. The whole drive back to Louisiana, my mind kept circling back to that moment, waking up to that coat-like figure staring at me from the corner, the way it was just gone in the morning. Maybe Tom played a cruel prank on me, but to this day he's never admitted to anything, so I doubt that. Maybe, just maybe, there had been someone in that house watching me sleep, and they decided to leave before the morning came.
Yeah, that is really some spooky stuff right there. And I guess my hunch was right after all, that maybe someone was standing there. Or maybe it was an apparition of some kind, or some kind of spirit, or some kind of demonic something. But if it was evil, it didn't try to harm him. But either way, like, if I was staying at someone's house that I haven't seen in a long time, and there was that creepy figure just kind of lurking there in the corner, I'd be like, what the hell? And like, for it to be gone like that in the morning makes it even creepier, because that means that there really was something there in the middle of the night and it was gone. It's just like one of those really out of place things that you can't really explain. And I would like to know what your guys' thoughts are in the comments, because this is definitely weird. I think it could be also some kind of like apparition or spirit or something like that. So yeah, I thought this was a creepy story, and I hope you enjoyed the music, and be sure to check the link in the description or the pinned comment if you would like to start saving some money. So I will see you in the next video.